I'll start by saying Tulsa had a great team. A lot of weapons on offense, a lot of weapons on defense. Offensively, their weapons were their skilled players. The receivers, the backs, all of them combined proved a tough task for our defense. And then on defense, I thought their skill was at their defensive end position. It really gave us a hard time at tackle, gave us a hard time by rushing three at times and even rushing four at times gave us some hard challenges there for our team. They won this game in the line of scrimmage. I thought their run game in every facet was superior to ours in the way that we executed and the way they executed. They were able to pressure, like I said before, create pressure with four and sometimes three, which allowed their team to use a lot of coverages against our quarterbacks. And on the other hand, I thought we could only apply pressure by bringing 6 or 7, which put way too much pressure on our cover guys. We've got a lot of growing to do in both cases. Congratulations to Zay Jones, just another great performance. Also thought Gardner did a good job coming into the game in some of the situations where he was able to scramble forward and make plays. Had some balls that were dropped, but he did a good job. Also, I thought defensively, Keontae Anderson played with a lot of grit, played really well, played hard, played with the chip that I like to see a lot more of our guys play with at this point in time of the season. Special teams also provided a plus on several opportunities and occasions. That's something that we have grown in week to week. Very proud of the way they put together their plan special teams wise on this past Saturday. We've got a lot to do, a lot of growing to do as a team. I think that we've got to make sure that we continue to give our guys the best opportunity to win every single situation and play. We're working very, very hard to make sure we do that.
Aaron Jackson with Inside ECU Sports. What more can the team do to get a win?
First thing we got to do, we got to eliminate. We have to eliminate the things that we haven't had show up before. The penalties got to go away. I thought our technique in coverage and our tackling has to be a lot better. We're trying to put as many different guys and bodies on the field that we can. But we just got to. First thing you got to do is control the things that take no physical talent, and that's what we'll start with.
How close were you to considering starting Gardner to start that game, considering how injured Phillip was?
We were close. It came down to Phillip having a really, really good Friday and feeling good. Moving forward, we'll be in a similar situation. He's going to have to be able to practice to go, especially with the performance that Gardner was able to come in and do. And he's been pretty good every time that he's came in from a percentage standpoint, but also the timing of everything that we're doing. So we were close, but not close enough to, actually make the starting change. If Friday would have been different, we probably would have had a different starter.
Did Phillip practice last night?
Say again? We didn't practice last night. So when we get back home at 4:30 in the morning, we usually the next day we come in and clean up the entire bit of film, which takes a long time into the evening. We usually let them come in about 1:15 so they get a few hours of sleep and the coaches get a few hours of sleep, and then we go home that night.
What are some of the things you've liked about Gardner now that you've had a few different sets of film to watch?
Pocket poise is the biggest thing, and right now we're gonna have a lot of pocket poise. We're not. We coming into the season, we knew that we had some offensive line limitations, but it's not gonna always be clean. It's not gonna be always an umbrella in the pocket. So the guy that can be poised and step up into the pocket, as bad as that may sound, and create some scrambling toward the line of scrimmage, is gonna have a better opportunity. So we've seen Gardner do a good job of that.
How conscious do you think Zay is of all this history that he's made? Do you think he's aware of that?
I just think he's, working to try to win every game. That's not his deal. If it was somebody else on the team, I'd probably say, yeah, they're pretty conscious of it. Just like if it was another, a receiver out there that was this close to it, I don't think they can handle it the way that he's handled it. He's more concerned about, our wins and losses versus, when it comes, it'll be a big time and it'll be a big deal for him. We'll make sure we celebrate it. But the biggest deal is he's trying to lead in every way that he can, and that's what he's focused on.
Regarding SMU, what's popped out most?
Growth, tremendous skill at the receiver position, and I don't mean like all over like I meant last week. I just think that Sutton is probably one of the biggest, strongest, players that we've seen at the position. He's an extreme talent, and then all around they play hard. Defensively, they get to the football. They've created a lot of opportunities to be in winning situations in the end of the game. The record may not display how close they've been. And then I think this last week was just an anomaly. I don't, you see certain games where things don't go your way early. That's what happened to them. They had a few turnovers, things go wrong. But I think the competitive nature that coach has been able to instill in his team in their second year has been easily to see.
Head into the final quarter of the season, how happy have you been with Coach Peterson, the way he's calling games, and how involved are you in the offensive play?
I'm very involved. I spent a lot of time in there. I think that we're, you can't you be hard pressed to say that if you'd have told me at the beginning of the year we averaged 500 yards a game, I'd have been okay. I'd have been said, okay, that's a pretty good year. And then you tell me that we only scored 28 points a game, then I'd have been pressed because you like to be in the 32-point range, and we're not there. But the biggest point is that in our red zone performance, we've been getting better and better. Unfortunately, this past week we had a red zone opportunity that was just marred with back-to-back mental errors. It just, putting a scheme together, and you feel like you have the perfect scheme, the perfect play call and everything, and we have a mental error inside of that where we've had a mental error a couple of times down in the red zone. But when we got the ball where we wanted to get it, especially when I talk about getting the ball inside of the 5 and first down or inside of the 3, those situations you can't have those situations happen. So, but I'm in there a lot. There's no question about it. But we've got to continue to grow. I'd be happy from one point of being able to move the ball, and very disappointed from not being able to score in the red zone. But also knowing that we've grown in red zone, our opportunities and chances to score. But we've got to be a lot better than we've gotten a little bit better, knock on wood, at taking care of the football, and we're stressing it. It's also the people that are carrying the ball and the people that we're targeting in those situations. But we still got a long way to go.
How much of a turning point was that for you to come away empty on that red zone opportunity where they kept backing us up?
I thought that was, it was critical because everybody in the stadium knows when you get that many downs, you need to be able to run the ball in the end zone. If we can't run the ball in the end zone right there, we've got a lot of issues that we need to take care of. And I think that we're starting to, address those issues again as much as we can. The run game was clearly the difference in the game. I mean, that was exactly where it is. Now, when you start having to use protection and everything down at the 1 and 2 yard line, that's just a case for disaster. And that's exactly what happened there. There was a major turning point in the game. There were some other critical times in the game, but you got to get points there, especially when you put together a drive.
Coach, this is Military Appreciation Day. What's it mean to you personally to be able to salute the military and being so close to so many military bases here in Eastern North Carolina?
I can't say enough about our military, what they do for the United States of America, how proud I am to be an American. But I remember waking up, on September 11th, I was in Denver, Colorado, and our service people, the work that they do. And then I remember waking up a year later or two and seeing people that I knew really well, like I grew up with, went to high school with, was in college with, were being deployed and were getting ready to go fight for the rights of all of us to be able to do everything in America that makes America great. So there is something special, not only from just me, but my entire family, the way that I was raised, the people that I've been around, the pride, the heart that goes into saying that I'll do anything for people that I don't even know, and stand on the line and put your life in the middle of true fire for others that you don't know, just for the freedoms of others that you don't know. So I also have been a part of knowing, Pat Tillman and understanding what he had to go through to come to his thought pattern of, I played in National Football League. I've had all the things in life that you could possibly imagine being given to you, and for him to go represent us and every other young man and young woman that has went across the seas and fought for us and even did it here and continue to do it. And anything that's asked of them, they don't ask any questions because they're orders and they just go do it. They live a completely different lifestyle than any of us can imagine. And I'm very thankful for what they do and how much they sacrifice, not only for me, but my children and hopefully one day my children's children.
On the defensive side of the ball, what have you noticed from each particular group, the defensive line, the linebackers, and your defensive backs about them?
You know, we just got to continue to grow and get better. That's the end of it. I haven't noticed one thing from this group or that group or that group. You know, no excuses and no explanations whatsoever. And excuses can come from any and everywhere. What we got to do is get better. We got to tackle better. That's you know, a big focus has been for us all year. And someone hit me this morning was talent and tackling. Yeah, I hear that. I got hit by the same deal of that 7 or 8 of the players, which you know, I don't pay close attention to. 7 or 8 of the players that we're playing with on defense in our top 11 or 12 came to East Carolina as non-scholarship athletes. That doesn't matter. That means they were better than everybody else. They either got put on scholarship or they beat other people out. I don't see anything from one particular group or that group. There's a couple of guys that are playing pretty good, and there's other guys that got to play better, and we got to continue to grow them. So I don't see a certain, this group is doing this group is doing that collectively. Last week we had a great week, and then collectively this week we fell below the line. Now there was a difference in the offense. I'm not blind to the fact of that. This offense this week that we played was much more productive than the offense that we played last week. That has a lot to do with it. I also think they were more talented. That has a lot to do with it. But our details and techniques and the things that require no talent, those are the things we got to do much better.
You talked about making decisions in terms of the big picture of this program. Now that Gardner Minshew has played, how important is it to get him reps moving forward?
You know, that's something that we'll take a look at. I think now we know. You know, before we didn't know. We knew that he was probably a talented backup, especially the way that we got him. We'll be able to help our football team in a very critical time. He's stepped in and done a much better job than a lot of people could have ever imagined. But we've got other situations and issues that are critical for this team that also need to improve. We've seen some improvement in that position even when the starter is not in there. It's kind of, you know, either held course or at times even been a little bit better, where at other times it hadn't been as good. But there are other positions on this team, whether it be in our fronts, that we really got to pay close attention to moving forward, because that's where the game is won and lost. And right now, if we can continue to get better between now and Saturday, and then the next Saturday, and then the next Saturday, and continue to go, then we have a much better chance than talking about whether or not, you know, Gardner is the issue or you know, Phil is the issue.
Kind of take us into the thought process of what you were thinking in terms of when you did make the quarterback change, and how short is the leash this week as you move on?
You know, I don't think it was short. If you watch early parts of the game, I thought we just missed some throws that were just, you know, and a lot of people thought they were down the field throws. They weren't the down the field throws. It was, you know, we missed some hitches where Zay had to go down and catch it and fall down, where those plays turn into 2nd and 1. And then it gives the play caller, if you've been around guys that call plays, when you get to 2nd and 1, I mean, you got the whole playbook. But instead we were 2nd and 6. And I saw some of those, and then knowing his situation, and then we had some times where the pocket did break down. I would have liked to see us scramble toward the line of scrimmage and throw the ball away rather than, you know, retreat and take sacks. You know, so there was some critical times in there that I just thought that some of it had to do with this physical ailment. And then when we decided to make the decision, you know, the decision was made, and we'll move forward from there.